Hey, good morning everybody. I'm excited to bring you one of my favorite stories from the Old Testament because we've been talking about some of Jesus's miracles, which of course are in our New Testament, in the New Testament of the Bible. And this story comes to us from the Old Testament, but it's a great story. It teaches us a great lesson. Have you ever been jealous? Jealous means that maybe your friend has a really awesome toy and you want that same toy. Or maybe you've got a friend who seems like they can just hit the ball and it will go all the way out to outfield home run and you might strike out. Jealousy is that feeling that sometimes makes us angry at someone else because of something they have or something they can do. And Jesus tells us not to envy others. And this is a really important story because it talks to us about how there were some brothers who were pretty jealous. So I'm reading this story actually out of our Spark Storybook Bible, and parents, you can find it underneath the portico, and for those of you attending drive-in church, it will be available. You've got activities, but our story is about Joseph. Now, Joseph's father, Jacob, he had a lot of sons, and these sons had a lot of chores. And just like sometimes you might get jealous of your brother or sister for something, or maybe a friend or a cousin, these brothers were jealous of one of the brothers. Joseph had Jacob's heart. And to show Joseph how much he loved him, Jacob had him made a beautiful, ornately colorful coat. So I'm going to read this story and let's see what happens. Jacob lived with his family in a place called Canaan. He had many sons. One of Jacob's younger sons was named Joseph. Jacob spent more time with Joseph than his other sons. He even had a special coat made for Joseph. It seemed to Joseph's brothers that their father loved Joseph more than he loved them. And they felt sad and angry. That's that jealousy coming in. One night, Joseph had a dream. The next morning, he couldn't wait to tell everybody about it. I dreamed we were all in the field trying stems of grain together. Suddenly, I couldn't believe my eyes. Your grain made a circle around my grain and bent over. You were bowing down to me. Isn't that exciting? Exclaimed Joseph. Look at the faces they're making. They are not very excited about this. Would you like it if your brother told you that you were going to have to serve them? Our grain did what? They laughed. Why do you think we would bow down to you like you were some kind of king? The brothers said angrily. Joseph hung his head and walked away slowly. The next night, Joseph had another dream. He excitedly told everybody about it in the morning. I had an even better dream last night. I looked up in the sky and there I was. I was the sun and the moon and 11 different stars bowed down to me. Isn't that amazing? He said. This time the father was listening, Jacob. Jacob was angry with Joseph and he said, why do you think your mother and I would stand next to your brothers and bow down to you as if you're a king? I don't like these strange dreams you're having. They will never come true. Now his brothers and his father were really mad at him. Luckily for Joseph, Jacob decided to send his brothers off with the sheep for a while. Later, Jacob sent Joseph to go and check on Joseph's brothers and see how they were doing with the sheep. But as he was getting closer to them, they saw him coming and they started talking and developing a plan. Here comes our dreaming brother. Let's get rid of him. They planned. They grabbed Joseph and they threw him in a pit. Ouch. Can you imagine falling down a pit? The rocks at the bottom of the pit were hard and they were sharp. God, why are they doing this to me? Prayed Joseph. A group of traders were walking by with their camels on their way to Egypt. The brothers thought that they'd get rid of Joseph once and for all. They sold Joseph to the traders and watched as he was taken away. So their brothers acted out of anger and out of spite and out of jealousy, and that's exactly the opposite of what God wants us to do. Jacob was angry with Joseph for saying such things to his brothers. But then, just like a father or mother would forgive you or me for doing things wrong, Jacob forgave Joseph and he sent them out there. So next week, we're going to follow up and see what happened next in Joseph's story. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I love and miss you all. Bye-bye.